Good evening, yes it is I, the conspicuous moo, and we've had our live letter now, and there are a few things to talk about, aren't there? So, let's get straight into it then. Right, Endwalker is delayed. Endwalker is delayed by 2 more weeks. Those people who were going to have early access are now going to have it on December the 3rd, and everyone else is going to pile in on December the 7th with me. The reasoning Yoshi P gave was that he needs to tie up a lot of the loose story ends, something that only really he can actually be across, because, this is the final chapter in a 7-8 year long saga, so he wants to make sure it's all done properly. There's a bit of QA that still needs to be done, and he just wants to make sure that it's ready for release. Oh, bless his heart, he was very upset about it. He was brought to tears about it, and I would just say to him, look, don't worry, man. If the World of Warcraft community were absolutely fine with Shadowlands being delayed by a month, and yes, of course, there were these occasional Fruit Loops, but for the most part, everyone said, we don't mind, because, if it comes out and it works properly, then we're actually a lot happier than if you just rushed it out and it was just a bit of a mess. So, Yoshi P, just sit back, relax, maybe take a holiday over the Christmas or something. Been putting a lot of work into this, and it's absolutely fine for the vast majority of it. I mean, I know some people are going to be annoyed because they've taken time off, especially from work and everything, and now that's not going to happen. But he did acknowledge that, and he did apologise multiple times all the way through the live letter. So, does anyone really want Endwalker to be delayed? No, of course not. But on the other hand, we're going to get a better rounded Endwalker out of it, so it's not such a big thing, at least not for me. I mean, I'm still on Turtle WoW with my Bear Druid. I'm just going through Darkshore at the moment, so I do have something else to do, and as you can see, I've been having a bit of fun with the Monk again, which I haven't picked up in a while. I'm a bit rusty, to say the least. Now, they went over the release schedule, so 6 early access, as we said, 3rd of December. Official launch is the 7th of December. 6.01 will be the Pandaemonium raid in normal mode. That's on the 21st of December. And then if you want to be a Savage Panda, then you'll have to wait until the 4th of January of next year. And new elegant tomestones and new gear will be available in that patch, which will be 6.05. We had the launch trailer as well, of course, now with the newly revised release date. So that was very nice. I will leave a link for it in the description, so you can look at it at your leisure. Today was very much about PvP and crafting, but we went through some of the locations as well that we're going to be going into in Endwalker, and of course, Oceania, which is a very pretty looking place, to be sure. And is the hometown of Alphino and Alice. So I'm sure they're going to have plenty of trouble there, because, I think if you've been going through the entire main story quest, they've basically been relieved of their surname by their wonderful father. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic that they're going to be playing out there. And of course, the Sharlians themselves have been keeping a few secrets. I mean, I think they're a little bit more aware of what's going on than they're actually letting on to everybody else, so they seem to have their own agenda. So it should be an interesting place, and that's basically your base of operations for the expansion. Radzat Han is going to be another place where apparently we're going to be spending a lot of time, so there's going to be a lot of important plot points in there as well. Labyrinthos sounds like a bit of a maze to me. There was Thavnair, which is a lovely sort of little dockland area. It was all very pretty, and Yoshi P was going on about, I love the sky, and you can actually have a view down on top of Radzat Han from up there, so okay. Garlemald, of course, they didn't really give us any details on that, because, secret spoilers, not doing that. And Mar Lamentorum, or the Moon, as we like to call it. And then there was another area which was sort of mysterious floating island concept. So there was a similar zone. I think the Sea of Clouds and Heavensward was a bit like this as well. So yeah, they couldn't give us anything actually concrete because it would give too much away. So they just gave an artist's impression instead, and that's sort of the thing you need to look out for. In terms of the new characters that are coming in, the most important one would seem to be the Lady of the Light. Now, she has shown up at the very end of Shadowbringers, and she also does appear in the trailer, the launch trailer. So, yes, apparently a very important character in Endwalker. They did say that, there was something around her waist, which seem to suggest an Ascian. Now, that would be an interesting concept because, as we have found out, Hydaelyn and Zodiac are both primals. They're very big primals, but they are primals nonetheless. And, Zodiac has his Ascian, so maybe Hydaelyn has hers as well. It's just we haven't seen them yet. So, there's probably a very interesting potential story thread in there. There will be 5 role quests for each job in Endwalker, and then additional quests in later patches once you've completed those, but there will be no level 90 job quests. Studium deliveries are almost, they sound almost exactly the same as the Crystarian deliveries that we did in Shadowbringers. There will be 5 quest lines for the Discipline of Land and Discipline of the Hand, so not expecting anything spectacularly new there. They gave us a few Dungeon Still previews, trying to avoid as many spoilers as possible. We had a Tentacle Alley, we had a Burning Forest, we had a Snow Tundra with a tower on the side, and then some classic Garlean architecture, because why not? The Raiders are secrets, they're not telling us what it is. They are saying it's going to be normal and hard mode, and normal mode will be 2 weeks after launch. The Raid Dungeon, Pandaemonium, it's called I'm not going to be able to do this. Asphodelos. Anyway, that. And there will be a new treasure dungeon. The Excitatron 6000, which kind of reminds me of the Blingtron from World of Warcraft. But that'll be available in 6.0.5. Moving on to the PvPs. Now, this is not something that Final Fantasy XIV was ever really renowned for, but at least they're making some efforts in this direction. So there's going to be a new thing called the Crystal Conflict. Yes. Now, they are deferring it because they didn't want it to clash too much with the main story quests and Savage Raids, and all that begins at the beginning of the expansion, so it's going to be a 6.1 thing. And they're going to be parties of 5v5. Short matches with simple rules and for the casual player. They are going to remove role matchmaking, and everyone is going to get a heal. But, you're going to have, of your team of 5, there are going to be 5 different jobs. You just can't stack, 5 summoners. Yeah, actually, summoners is a good example. Imagine stacking those. And basically there's a crystal in the middle, and if you control the crystal, it will move towards the enemy base. And as long as you continue to get it there along the line, then eventually it will get to the enemy base and you'll win the game. So there are lots of different maps, and they all have different traps and gimmicks all to themselves. So, it sounds like fairly, there's nothing too complicated about this PvP, but it's just going to be nice, fun, quick, bite-sized kind of stuff. There is a new reward system coming in as well, so there'll be titles and achievements and ranking rewards as well. Now, the Crystal Conflict is going to have its own seasonal rotation, which is going to be more frequent than the series periods which they are setting up for all PvP content. So the series periods will last for a patch cycle, so 6.0 to 6.1 for example, and the seasonal periods you might have 2, you might have 3. It's going to change around, but it's going to be a lot shorter for the Crystal Conflict ones. Now you will earn XP as you do your PvP things, and you will accumulate series level, and according to those levels you'll be able to collect tokens, gear, mounts, etc. Tokens can be redeemed for rewards, and if you don't spend them all, they will carry over to the next series. So, you're not going to lose them or anything. The rewards themselves will change as they go, but you shouldn't panic because they said they will have a vendor later to buy the rewards from previous series that you didn't get around to purchasing. The Feast, interestingly, is closing down as of 6.1, so the focus is now going to be on this new Crystal Conflict thing. And the Feast, it's your last chance to get in for the Feast. It's only a few months left before it's gone forever. Now there's a new tentative system that's coming out called Calling Card, which is kind of a customization of profile. They did sort of use the analogy that it was like a profile picture on social media, for example, and you'll have different customization options that you can unlock. That will be added as rewards in both PvP and PvE. It's definitely not just a PvP thing. So consider it like a business card, if you like. So if anyone's looking you up, they'll sort of get your profile and your nice little pictures. It's just a little bit of extra player customization, which was kind of neat. Crafting and gathering, well, a lot of the high quality items are going. Now, delivery bonuses for the high quality stuff will be removed, but the base rewards will be improved. So the 100% bonus that you used to get for putting in high quality stuff as opposed to normal quality is gone, but they're going to up the rewards. Anything affecting high quality yields when gathering will be adjusted. Now, the high quality is going away only for gathering. You'll still be able to craft high quality items, so that's an important distinction. And the difficulty of crafting high quality items is going to remain the same. So this is the replacement system that they're thinking of putting in place. So basically perception is now going to be a very important stat. Well, it already was, but it's even more important now, because it increases the chance of triggering Gatherer's Boon. So that increases your yield by 1, and this will replace any actions that increase the high quality gathering chance on whatever you're using. Now, as for high quality fish, they're just going to be large sized fish. What we do with these, I suppose we just make bigger meals out of them. And perception will affect the collectability of a fish. So, you know, if you're one of those people who likes having a singing bass on the wall, this is the expansion for you. Spearfishing has a new UI. It does look a bit lame. You know, it's a bit mobile-y. It's, you know, the fish will just swim past and you've got your little trident fork in the middle and you hit it when the fish goes past. I mean, I hope that there's more to it than that. I mean, even that is more interactive than the original spearfishing design, but it did look a bit mobile-y. The Leviquest Gill and XP rewards are going to be reduced as well, because it was, let's face it, a very, very effective way of leveling things up. And the new scripts are going to be purple, Crafter and Gatherer, so there you go. In terms of system adjustments, we've got the great downscale, so all classes, jobs, retainers and trust NPCs are going to be whittled away. The leveling experience will remain unchanged though, so you don't have to worry about that. One of the most important things they did point out at this stage was that any progress of XP that you have on old jobs that aren't maxed out will be reset on the 6.0 launch. This isn't rested XP, this is like, you know, if you are 85% into 51, it'll get reset unless you go over to 52. So if you are leveling old jobs and all of that stuff, then it would be recommended to tick all of them over at least to the nearest integer, because if you're at 99% and on level 55, it's going back to 0%. So that's something you need to bear in mind for the 6.0 launch. New elegant tomestones are aphorism and astrology. Poetics are sticking around. Astronomy tomestones will unlock on the Savage Raid opening, which is 4 weeks after launch. And they did give us a few examples of what the gear sets look like for the astronomy tomestones as well. Now, around about 6.1, they are looking into the possible expansion to loot chest and glamour plates, because everyone's things are getting a little bit clogged up, well, except for mine. I haven't got anything interesting. But one of the important changes they also noted was that the raid weapon tombstone numbers have been reduced from 1,000 to 500. In terms of hairstyles, there are more coming for Viera and Hrothgar. 6.0 will have more hairstyles for the female Viera. The male Viera is already covered in this, he's already got fabulous hair. And then 6.1 for the Hrothgars, because they're a little bit more complicated, and I think that's where the Hrothgar females are coming in as well. The UI achievement update is more of a journal parchment kind of style experience, and they've incorporated a couple of the tags that you usually got, you know, like achievements you're about to complete and the achievements that you might be interested in around the area. That's all going to be built into one UI now. The Back on Your Feet company action is being changed to increase sprint duration in cities instead. The developers sort of felt it had to be changed because the 15% reduced weakness duration after being revived was just too OP in raids and difficult encounters, so they're going to change that. They did have quite a section on Embody Immerse Spatial Audio support. Now, this is a sound add-on. It's not a free sound add-on, it will cost money. I think there is a 14-day trial that you can go for as well. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. Basically, you send a picture of your ear to them, and the software will work out the best balance for your ear shape, so it sounds neat. See what I did there? Thank you very much. So yeah, you can look into that if you want. It does look rather expensive, but it is a one-off cost, so it's not like a subscription service or anything like that. Housing, this is always interesting. So Imperium is coming to 6.1. It's the Ishgard one. They're going to have 24 wards and 24 subdivisions per world. From 6.0 you should be able just to walk through and have a look about, but the actual sales will begin in 6.1. There is a new land purchase system, and relocation to land that's not yet ready for purchase is no longer available from 6.0. Land devaluation is also being removed in 6.1, and you also won't be able to grant brand new FC members authorization to purchase land or to gain the rank of FC Master. A lot of these things are just sort of to stop people gaming the system in order to get as much housing as possible, and to grant new people as, all the housing that they would ever need. There will be a lottery system coming in 6.1, and the vast majority of the properties that are going to be sold from now on are going to be on this lottery system. So some properties will still be first come, first served, but it's one of those things they're just going to sort of keep an eye on and see how things are going, and what the general player feedback is as well, which will be important. For the lottery, you will need to be a minimum of level 50, and you'll need to have a Grand Company rank of Second Lieutenant or above. You are only allowed to bid on one plot per world. All worlds and housing areas will have their lotteries happening at the same time, and the lottery is open for several days, so everyone has a chance to come in and have a look. After that, you have a land acquisition period of a few days in order just to complete it, and if that expires, then that land will just get released into the next round of lotteries. The actual lottery entry is at the placard, like it used to be when you were frantically spamming the button in order to buy your place. It will show how many have actually entered the lottery as well, so you might want to try another place if it looks like there are far too many numbers and your odds are too long. You will only be able to have one application on each lottery period though, so choose carefully. In terms of payment, you will have to pay for the plot of land in full, but if you don't get it, you will be refunded in full as well. You'll need 90 days to claim it back, but that's pretty generous, really. How do you forget about all of that money in like 3 months? You also can't cancel once you've entered, so this is another thing to stop people from putting like a minimal deposit on and then sort of going, I don't feel like it. Is actually going to really cost you if you don't play the game properly. Similarly, if you fail to acquire the land properly, like you win the lottery and then you just don't do anything, you will lose it and 50% of your deposit with it. So be careful. And as usual, they do have plans on expanding the housing availability later. So they're going to be looking at expanding the service because housing is just one of those bottlenecks in Final Fantasy XIV that we are all very, very aware of. Finally, the Oceania data center had a little bit of news. It's going to be called Materia. It's going to have multiple worlds, and it is planning to be open in February 2022, which is probably around 6.1, we would think. All of the worlds will be classified as new worlds, so free world transfers and other bonuses attached to transferring to new worlds is going to be available, just to populate them as quickly as possible. It's sort of multiple worlds, so I'm quite surprised. I thought that, they would probably keep it down, but they'll know the numbers better than anybody. So yes, for the Oceanics amongst you, and if you want to expand on that option, then it's going to be there very, very soon. Something to look forward to. So yes, that is a very, very compacted version of the live letter for anyone who didn't want to sit through the 6.5 hours. It was very, very interesting. Yoshi P was very, very sorry about the delays, but at the end of the day, if we get a better Endwalker out of it, I think everyone's going to win. So my commiserations though to anyone who actually booked time off to play Endwalker, and it looks like they're not going to be doing that now. So that's it from me. What do you think? Are you happy with the Endwalker delay? Are you interested in this lottery system? That's one thing I'm very interested in, is the housing deal. And I'm still tossing up in the Oceania thing. I haven't decided yet, but it is kind of tempting to have a ping that isn't embarrassing. Anyway, I will be back relatively soon, but until then, I am the Conspicuous Moo, and a very good evening to you.